Hey guys, boom! It's Jeff here from MACkite.
Nice.
Tucker
from MACkite.
Hey, there's a song, POD. I like that band. Boom! Here comes the boom. Yeah, we're here. Hey, I had a chance. Very fortunate to go out to AWSI this year, and man, when I looked across the event site, it was boom to boom boom, booms everywhere.
Yeah, same thing at our KOGL event, Test Fest.
Yeah, a lot of booms. You know, I'm an ex-windsurfer. You know, booms have been around. But we're here just to kind of talk about what we're really seeing to help the customer out is a lot of brands are coming with, you buy the wing and then you choose your handle.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it comes down to which Ninja Turtle you identify with.
Right on.
You know, are you a Donatello? Are you a Leonardo?
You're showing your age here a little bit, but
they're still making those, all right?
That's good.
So all joking aside, lots of booms in the market. Almost every brand offers a wing with a boom or the option to have a boom on their wings. Why are we seeing that? That's why we're here today. What are some of the benefits? What are some of the drawbacks? And talk through some of that and the different ways they attach and how they differ. So,
and I will preface this that if you've watched some of our past videos, you and I had a discussion a little bit down the road that I was like, I'm not sure the booms are going to be as popular or stick around. Well, I was surprised.
Wrong again, Mr. Jeff.
I was wrong again, but I really did. You know, when I was out at AWSI, I started asking a lot of the brands, why am I seeing so many booms?
Right.
Can you give me some of the rationale? So we can walk into some of that maybe as we talk about this, but we're not here really to. There isn't really a lot of definitives, but we have options. Yeah, we can talk about some of the trade-offs and those kind of things. So why don't you go ahead and launch in a little bit with the booms? I know that's something that you've...
Yeah, I think it's number one is modularity. You know, if you have an option to do either or, there's not a downside to that. If you're producing a wing and it only has a boom or only has handles, you're separating a certain amount of the market that really wants one or the other. And I would say as a rule, there are a lot of people that really want a boom. A certain percentage of people that they only want a boom. Handles, not so much. You know, you get people that like certain types of handles, hard handles, angled handles, soft handles, but they're pretty small percentage that are really hardcore about handles in general versus a boom. So I think number one, it's just that we'll give people the option. They can have what they want, that we're not alienating any customers. We're keeping everybody happy. If you want to ride a unit and you know, in the past, you didn't have the option to have a boom and you're like, well, that's a deal breaker for me. I can't buy a unit. Well, now you got it with a boom. Maybe, you know, you scoop one up now. So I think that's the mentality from the brand side. There's also, I think, a lot of pressure from the pro teams on the freestyle side to have a boom because they're now doing those handle pass tricks. They're, you know, doing one-handed wave riding. And, you know, at that level, you really can't be doing back mobs on a wing that doesn't have a boom. And you can kind of finagle it, you know, with like a spanner or a bridge between handles, but it's just not the same as having a dedicated boom. So I think, you know, both of those things are really driving that. And the fact that a lot of these are removable nowadays, it's just like, why not?
Sure. And that's kind of some of what I heard at the event when I went to every brand that's having the boom option now, was that the freestyle side of things, obviously, you know, with powered up riding, jumping, handle passes, all that works well. And of course, us old timers, you know, with windsurfing, there are guys that just, you know, when they switched over either from kiting then back into the winging, you know, the boom felt at home, you know, when they're on it. Another thing.
Flip side of that too, I've talked to some windsurfers like, never doing a boom again. I've seen enough booms in my day.
Yeah, I'm done with those.
I'm done with the booms.
But the other side of the boom, and this isn't true for every brand out there, but, you know, there is some thought process with the boom that overall it's a little lighter because you just have 2 points of attachment, which add weight.
Yep.
And the boom itself, compared to 2 handles, is less weight.
Yep.
Now, I have found a couple brands where I poked a hole in that where it wasn't the case, but, you know, those are some of the school of thought there too that I've heard. I think too, from a manufacturing standpoint, you know, like you said,
simpler.
Yeah, simpler. It gives a unit, for people that love the unit, an option now that they're not stuck just to the handles. And if you've been a unit lover, you've noticed the unit handles have gotten longer, so there isn't much space between the real estate now between the
and we're talking unit, but I mean, it's pretty true across the board. I mean, with the North, Shift locked options, again too, you know, you can have a big long boom, you can have 2 big handles, you can have 2 small handles, whatever.
But
Got F1 here, boom, smaller handles, soft handles, hybrid handles.
generally though,
All the options.
The front handle, we are seeing a theme. If we're talking about handles, the front handle is a little bit longer than the rear handle. I'm seeing that in more brands.
Generally, yeah, that gives you more real estate based on your weight, the power you're riding, and then also generally you want to be able to grip forward on the leading edge. If you're pistol gripping, you don't want to be pistol gripping from back here, because then you're carrying around a bunch of power. It's really hard to maneuver the wing. It's telling you where to go, not the other way around. So if you're going into attack, you're maneuvering the wing from pistol grip, you want to have it close to the leading edge. So that's part of the reason why you're getting those longer handles. If you're balancing the wing further back in the canopy, we just need that space, because you're not going to be riding like this.
So maybe to segue back to the boom, I kind of jumped just into handles, but the boom, I think too, another thing that we're seeing with the boom is there is some school of thought, could be a little easier for beginners. We talked about the freestyles, talked about handle passes, but when you're learning to wing and you're on your board, and you just can easily slide your hand out to find a position versus trying to find that handle grip where the handle grip is. So there is some school of thought there.
We poked a little hole in that theory too.
We have, because if you grab the boom in the wrong spot, you can get yanked and the wing will
small
respond.
Handles, it's pretty hard to grab these in the wrong spot.
Nope.
You can only go a couple inches in the wrong direction. As long as they're placed in the proper way, you should be pretty set and forget.
They give you kind of the boundaries as a learner, like you just said, to not have to think about where is the best placement for the performance for this wing. That's what I experienced when I first went over to a boom from the handles. I did find it took me a while to figure out where is the sweet spot in all this real estate for this wing.
Yep. Especially on the slick, because it's way forward,
Yep.
not where you think it would be.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so that was something that can make it complicated, but it's good just to bring that up, that there are give and takes with the boom and the handles for newer riders. You know, and I think that's kind of a distinction. But again, we're seeing a lot of booms as an option in the market. So is there anything else on the boom that we haven't hit that we want to hit?
Yeah, I think, you know, some of the argument from the designer standpoint is a boom can add more rigidity to the strut. And, you know, again, I think it depends how the wing is. You know, you don't have the middle support, so you're not getting that flexion point there. So it does add rigidity through this point, and then obviously that can extend through the rest of the strut by extension. So I think there's definitely value in that. If you're a heavier rider, you're somebody, you know, that maybe should be in a stiffer Alula material or something, you just don't have the budget for it. Adding a boom to the equation can help stiffen up that strut and add a bit more responsiveness when it otherwise would have been flexing a little bit.
Could that contribute to wanting to jump? Because we are seeing the sport progressing so quickly.
Yeah, you're
Guys
hanging off the wing.
Sending it
Yeah.
on the wings now.
Yeah,
and typically you're seeing them with boom.
And if you think about it, you're changing the flexion point here, and you're getting a little flex in that. You're changing the shape of the wing. So if you're a heavy rider like me, and that boom flexes when you hang off it, when you're hanging, you're losing lift. You're losing efficiency of the intended profile of the wing. So if you're really riding overpowered, if you're riding big jumps, stuff like that, if you're a heavier rider, I think, you know, boom makes sense for that, and just giving you a greater support for that middle portion of the strut.
And going back to that thought process too, I have found with the booms, maybe for those that are learning or intermediates and aren't jumping and aren't doing all that, there can be a little different feel when you're using the boom to pump and get going, just to kind of find that sweet spot, because it's all on one plane, it's so stiff, versus when you have the two handles, there can be a little more play and forgiveness. I've experienced a little bit as you're getting up. It's more getting used to. There's a little bit different.
Don't grab it here. Or don't grab it here and think that's right. You know, as a
sweet spot.
Yeah, or talk to somebody that's ridden this wing before. You can talk to us here at the shop. You can look at some of the videos of their riders or our riders riding the wings, see where your hands are. On something like a slick, you're gonna find out it's about here. On something like this, you're gonna find out it's more here. On some of these other wings in different places, you know, it's not always dead center of the boom. A lot of times you're flying more off your front hand, in my experience anyway. Depending on the wing, of course, but Watch somebody fly it and see, you know, where their hand's at. Make mental note of that, or put a little bit of a marker spot on your handle to give you kind of an indication of, hey, maybe, you know, right in here is a right kind of rough area where I should have my hands. And even for us, you know, you come off a wave and you switch hands and just grab it blindly. You know, we've done enough riding a lot of different wings. You kind of know when that feel is wrong. But as a new rider, you don't, and you can be making a lot of mistakes simply based off of, you know, the balance in your hands.
A lot of real estate. Yeah, the handle. I think that's where the handle. Again, we've said it already. Can give you a little bit more, less room for error because the handle real estate isn't as much. I really like
no boom to hook your harness hook on if you're riding a harness line.
If you double up,
I've done that more than once. That could be hooked right into your hook right into your bar, especially if it drill jams in there. It's a little unnerving, but yeah, it's easier to pack down. I think handles are kind of the classic choice because you can pack it down into a small backpack without taking the boom off.
That's why I like the handles. I also like the handles just because I feel that I can articulate and feel the wing just a little bit, just how I'm used to riding for some reason. I don't know, maybe that the little flex point in the middle of that strut or just something. I
feel like you're a bit more grounded into the strut because if you imagine you're here, you know, you're 4 or 5 inches away from where the strut is. If the handles are a little flatter typically, so like, you know, these here or there, you know, or a lot of times they're kind of angled inward where the inside of the stanchion is a little closer to the strut and your body's kind of, I don't know, in there. I feel like you're a bit more grounded in the wing, whereas a lot of these standoff booms, you know,
more like a bridge effect.
Yeah, you're almost holding it out there like a bridle almost, you know, it's flying off of it. You're not in it, especially with the slick, you know, this is really, it has kind of a kink in the strut. So you're really in there.
But
so
something
there's a feeling about that.
I'm committed to riding booms more. And obviously I saw them a lot. I haven't been a huge boom fan, even though I was a windsurfer. So I have been riding booms more. I think it's just a subtle change and adjustment. There is a different feel. There's a little bit different engagement and feel with it. But I do see as the industry, a lot of the handles now are getting so close in real estate to the booms. I mean, they are going longer front handles, shorter back handles. So I'm kind of seeing, you know, where some of the benefits are in the boom. But I think when it comes down to it, it is a little more personal preference. We're not here to say one's better than the other one. There's applications I think we've already covered pretty well where the boom may be for you. I think
depends on the brand too.
Yep.
You know, for some brands, I think the boom works really well with the slick. Duotone. I think for F1, for me, I don't like the boom as much as I like a hard front handle and a soft rear.
Agree.
It just feels nicer. It can be a riding style thing a lot of times in waves. A lot of times people are liking the handles. For one reason or another, a lot of those wings just tend to have handles historically. So I think maybe we've taught ourselves to like those just by liking wave wings that have handles. Definitely in that court, I'm not upset about riding a boom when I ride it. It is kind of fun to be able to one hand the wing in small waves and stuff and do, you know, all the cool handle pass tricks and stuff and maneuvers without, you know, missing the middle of the bar. It's impossible to miss.
And that was the selling for me in the boom, just the one handle riding, or if you're coming in a toe side tack and you're coming out of it, you know, around, it's just, you can just put one hand on it and feel that power
there's
as you turn
another
the corner.
dimension of use.
Yeah,
that you can
but
use it for,
with the longer front handles we're seeing, you can just slide your hand and do the same thing. So I think that the gap in that is kind of narrowing, but I think we covered it pretty well. Obviously, you know, the industry is giving you options now. And so, you know, maybe it's best to try on the beach. You have a friend or somebody and you haven't tried a boom, maybe give it a try. Like I said, I think once you get used to it, you know, I always say this, once you get used to your gear and you get dialed into it, you become a pro on it, you know, quotation marks, but you become really good and efficient with it. And so there's not a drawback, you know.
Yeah, I would say it's not a reason to pick a wing.
No.
You know, as much as some manufacturers might think that, you know, we're going to make a boom and everybody will want it. I don't think that should be, you know, a determining factor on what wing you're choosing. Unless, you know, you're out there doing back mobs and you need a boom because you can't handle pass without a boom like that, then maybe it's going to have a bigger effect. But for most riders out there, don't let a boom or handles scare you away from a good wing. That should be about the last thing that you're considering.
More about
Talk
the ride.
about the range, the type of performance that shape is going to give you. You know, the construction of the wing, I would say, is far more important than boom versus handle. I ride both. I'm happy on both. I can easily adapt between them. easily, no problems at all.
Totally agree.
And
Totally agree.
there are very minor differences, but at the end of the day, it's not a make or break decision, so don't stress over it.
Yeah, and the performance of the wing is going to be the performance of the wing, and very similar if you're riding handles or the boom.
Yep.
You know, I've experienced that already with some of the wings we've had. I've tried it with a boom, tried it with the handles. I've done it with the unit. I've done it with the Novas, the new Nova Pros. The wing does the job.
Yeah.
And the handles is just a different way to engage with the wing.
There's a much bigger difference between a soft handle and a hard handle, in my opinion.
True.
Yeah.
True. All right, that is a wrap. I think we did a pretty nice job covering the booms and the handles. Really, it's about trying to help you out as a customer now that you're going to be seeing the option. You buy the wing and now you have a choice. We'd be happy to help you out. Give us a call, send us an email, and we can help you dial in what works best for you.
Yeah, get familiar with it. They're probably here to stay, so
Right on.
take care, guys.
Enjoy the show.